Today on Memo to the President, a legal framework for detaining terrorists. Hi, I'm Gigi Hinton, along with Brookings Senior Fellow Benjamin Wittes. Benjamin, one of the problems, the situations that President-elect Obama is going to have to face is the problem of Guantanamo Bay and what to do with our foreign detainees. What's the situation?
The situation is he walks in, he has about 250 detainees there who have been an intractable problem for the previous administration. They range from the hardest core terrorists we've captured in the war on terrorism to some very innocuous people who have kind of gotten caught up in our conflict and who we would love to send home as soon as possible. And what binds them all together is that we have not been able to eliminate this population, to figure out who should be put on trial and to effectuate that, and to figure out how to justify the detention of those whom we can't try, but we also don't feel we can release.
Is there a short list of things that the President-elect should do most immediately?
Well, the most important thing that he needs to do, you can't do it right away, but you can initiate it right away, is a systematic review of the detainee population, a very rigorous review to figure out, of these 250 people, which of them goes in which of those three boxes. How many people could you really put on trial? What could you do for the 60 people who you want to release and you can't? And is it really 60 or is it more than that? And finally, what is the qualities of people that make them both too dangerous to release and unable to be prosecuted? Who are those people? And what should, you can't really decide what should be done with them without really a very precise sense of who they are and what makes them belong in that category. So the thing that he could do on day one, that other than announce the closure of Guantanamo itself, and the thing that he could do on day one is to really state a commitment to and initiate a process for the review of those detentions.
And very quickly, you say that the world is judging us by what goes on in Guantanamo Bay and how we detain foreign terrorists or prisoners.
No question. The world takes this issue very seriously. It's seen as a huge stain on America's honor and as a symbol of hypocrisy, which to some degree is an unfair judgment in many ways, but there are enormous costs to Guantanamo as it exists right now. And one thing that is very clear about Barack Obama from the campaign, and he reiterated it after the other day in an interview, is that that's a cost he's not willing to continue paying, and he wants to end that problem as quickly as he can.
Benjamin Wittes, thank you so much for joining us on Memo to the President.
What should the president do about Guantanamo? I think President Obama should shut down Guantanamo as soon as possible, try all those who need to be tried, and otherwise shut it down because it's a stain on our country.
You can close it down, or you can move it to the United States, for example, or you can try them there under military rules or whatever rules. But I think it would be a definitely good idea to, within a year or so, to close it down.
The treatment that the soldiers are getting, or that the insurgents are getting in the facility, is against the Constitution, and it's against the moral judgment of the American people.
And that's what I think.
Hello, I'm Ron Nesson, along with Brookings Senior Fellow Steve Hess, author of What Do We Do Now?, a workbook for the President-elect. Steve, one of your chapters is devoted to choosing the President's cabinet, and you say in there that he ought to pick his White House staff before he picks his cabinet. Could you explain that?
Yes, and I'm delighted to see that Barack Obama has done exactly that. What you need are the people in place to help you pick all the rest. In other words, you need a personnel director. You need a lawyer, your counsel, who's going to vet the people, check out their FBI files and so forth. You need somebody like a press secretary to announce them. You need a congressional relations person to get them through Congress. So you start with the people who are going to move the rest of your team to confirmation.
Now, one of your interesting suggestions in there is to reach out to your political opponents and put them in your cabinet. Now, why is that?
Well, sometimes it's better having them on the inside than on the outside, and sometimes
on the inside shooting out instead of on the outside
right.
shooting. Yeah,
but also
right.
they can be very bright and important people too. Certainly unites your party if it's been a divisive primary to get to the general election, and also sometimes they're really world-class people.
You make a distinction between the inner cabinet jobs and all the rest of the cabinet jobs.
Yeah.
Would you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, there are 15 departmental secretaries and others that the president chooses to add to the cabinet, like the UN representative sometimes. Of the 15, 4 are the original cabinet. That is, of course, the State Department, what was called the War Department, the Defense Department, your Attorney General, the Justice Department, and your Treasury. Those are your key jobs. Now, there are a few of the outer cabinet who have become increasingly important, such as the most recent one, Homeland Security.
Right. I was amazed by one thing in your book. You list the number of people who have turned down cabinet jobs. I think it was 6 people turned down Reagan and 4 people turned down Nixon for jobs in the cabinet.
Yeah, but they don't usually turn down the inner cabinet jobs. Very few people who are offered Secretary of State will choose that they have other things to do. But the outer cabinet, you may find people who have made a lot more money and have a lot more privacy than being Secretary of Transportation.
Steve, thank you very much. We'll be back next week. I'm Ron Nesson.
Be a part of the presidential transition. Join our pundits and experts for The Scouting Report, our live web chat every Wednesday afternoon at 12:30. Log on to www.brookings.edu/transition.